I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and today you and I are going to take a close first look at this, the Hyundai Sonata N Line, a vehicle that really shows just how far Hyundai have come in the last 10 years to the point where they're now developing this insanely good-looking sports sedan that can actually back up those looks with some pretty good figures, because under that bonnet we have Hyundai's new 2.5-litre SmartStream petrol 4-cylinder engine, but with a big turbocharger, so it's producing 213 kilowatts of power and 422 newton meters of torque. But even though this is just a Hyundai N Line car and not a full N vehicle, the Sonata N Line has actually gone through a very comprehensive suite of changes to bring it up to standard so that it can actually handle all of that power the engine is making. That starts with a comprehensive new suspension package developed at Hyundai's facility in Namyang, South Korea, and then tested and finessed here in Australia, so it should ride and handle really well. It's pretty comprehensive. We've got new control arms under that front suspension there. We've got bigger and wider 19-inch wheels and 245 width tyres, Continental's Sport Contact 6 tyres. We've also got a suite of aesthetic changes, so you're not going to miss this vehicle on the road. And that's what we're going to talk about first in today's video. I'll talk you through some of those styling adjustments for the Sonata N Line, then we'll jump inside this vehicle and check out the surprisingly upmarket cabin, and then chat about where this vehicle is going to fit into the continuum of mid-sized cars here in Australia and how we think the Sonata N Line is going to do. But first of all, make sure to hit subscribe down below the video and the notification bell. You'll never miss any of our full-length uploads. And now we'll get started by checking out the design of the new Sonata N Line. First up though, why am I hiding out in this car park? Well, the Sonata N Line has been under a pretty strict embargo and under camouflage for a very long time. It's been unveiled today. This one's been hiding out here at Hyundai's headquarters in Sydney, and we've got to film with it. So the covers are off briefly. I'm appearing about 2 weeks before you're watching this video, so pretty cool opportunity for you and I, mainly because people subscribe and comment below and help us get these opportunities, so I encourage you to do that. Now, the design changes to the Sonata N Line. The first thing I want to point out is not so much a change, just one of the coolest features about this car. I know it's been discussed before, but these DRLs, daytime running lights, LED, that blend into the chrome strips on the front end of this Sonata, absolutely awesome. Really love that touch. But you get that on all of this car's grades. The N Line instead focuses on blacking out a whole bunch of the features here at the front end. So it has its own grille, different detailing to the regular version of the Sonata, which may or may not come to Australia, but this N Line is locked in. So that's all done in gloss black. We have a prominent N Line badge here in the grille, so you're not going to be missing that out on the road in your mirrors. Different diffuser treatment, a bit more aggressive, a bit more angular. The whole thing is stanched better as well because the N Line is actually 5mm lower riding than the standard car. That's not a huge drop in ride height, but it just helps the eye a little bit, bring the car down. And I also think that in this kind of lustrous but still fairly flat battleship grey colour, it looks menacing, but for me, look, I do prefer brighter colours than the German rainbow of greys, but what can you do? Monochrome is more popular. Moving around the side, love the wheel design. We've got a really cool snowflake style 19-inch wheel on this car. It's not crazy in terms of tyre. We've still got a 40 series tyre, so you've got a bit of sidewall there, so it shouldn't ride too badly, but we'll only know the answer to that when we can take this vehicle out on the road in not too long. Let's have a look around the back and see what's changed there. Around the back, I think the new Sonata presents quite smartly, and it certainly looks quite distinctive and quite different from the outgoing version of this car. The general shape is retained from the standard version with this full-length LED light bar that looks really cool, but that now sits underneath a dedicated N Line gloss black lip spoiler with a bit of this kind of aero detailing on top, which is pretty cool. We then have the full-width Sonata badging, so it's a little bit more distinctive, a bit more assertive, and that gloss black rear diffuser. We actually have quad tailpipes and they are fully functional. So there's no blanked out tailpipes on this vehicle. So that's a bit of street cred for this car that it at least doesn't have fake pipes. Boot release is actually on the paint. So that's pretty cool. It's got enough strength in the springs there to lift itself. Plenty of room to stash the camo that used to be sitting on this car until we filmed this video. The one thing I would point out that isn't quite cohesive for me on this vehicle is just that little fake vent there behind the rear wheel. Looks like something that was just picked up on AliExpress for $2. But all of this stuff about design is ultimately subjective. You can tell me your opinion below, because now we're going to jump inside and check out the cabin of the Sonata N Line. Jumping into the Sonata, and this vehicle has made a giant leap in terms of how upmarket it is in the interior. I really like this vehicle inside. It mirrors most of the features of the standard new Sonata, but the N Line version gives it heaps of really tidy upgrades that you're going to notice every time you drive the car. That starts with these awesome seats, really tall bolsters, so not everybody will find them comfortable. You'll need to test drive it and make sure that it's not too narrow for you, but for me, it's just about right. They got a mix of kind of leather and this suede-like material in the center. They're very supportive, electrically adjustable, feels really cool. Sitting behind this steering wheel, perforations on the side and a really cool shape to it. It's kind of got this twin spoke design, or quad spoke, I suppose, but it's a bit avant-garde, a bit interesting. And then beyond that further is the Sonata's new technology offering, which has 2 screens. We've got digital gauges in front of the driver, which is fully customizable and changes with the drive mode that you have selected with this little notch down here. So in Sport and Sport Plus, for example, it's red. In the other modes, it's more neutral tones. Over here, we have our touchscreen with Hyundai's latest software, very snappy. Wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto will be standard, and we also have Bose audio in this car, so the stereo system should also be very good. We've got nice physical controls here for the climate, but interestingly, buttons for the new dual clutch 8-speed automatic gearbox in this vehicle. Very excited to drive that and see how it goes in Hyundai. They've been talking about this dual clutch for years, so there's a lot of hype behind it. The rest of the materials are very nice. Leather-like material up on the dash, soft touch on the doors, so it feels suitably luxurious, which is good because it's probably going to be, you know, priced like other mid-sized sedans like the Mazda 6 with a turbo engine, so it's not going to be cheap. Instead, it's going to be something of a flagship saloon for the Hyundai brand here in Australia. So up front, there's a lot to like. Let's check out the back seat. Here in the back of the Sonata, as you can see, this is a vehicle that sits on a long wheelbase because I have plenty of room. But of course, that's what you're looking for if you are going to buy one of these large sedans, which are no longer the conventional purchase for a family buyer, more of a second car here in Australia, maybe something that you take to the office and then you can enjoy on the weekend, but you still need to be able to carry people. And the Sonata can do that, which is great. I'm 6 foot. My headroom is absolutely fine, even though this vehicle does have the panoramic sunroof. Legroom behind my own driving position is very generous, and tow room is also fine. You'll get 3 people sitting next to one another back here if you need it. There is a bit of a hump in the floor, not terrible, and I like the fact these back seats have a similar shape to those up front, and they also get that suede cloth material in the center. They look and feel good. We've also got air vents, another fast charging USB port here in the back, and even lush touches like sun blinds integrated into the doors, soft touch materials, and a flip down armrest with 2 cup holders. So all in all, it's pretty well set up here in the second row. So that's a first look at the new Hyundai Sonata N Line, a sports sedan that will go head to head with the Mazda 6 2.5 litre turbo and the Volkswagen Passat 206 TSI here in Australia. But what's your impression of the Sonata N Line? Is this a car you're looking forward to? Would you consider it over an SUV? Leave your comments down below. And while you're there, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell.